Hello, good people. Recently I have been really thinking about what it means for me to have peace and joy and how to maintain that. Because there are times when I'm really, really struggling, when my heart is feeling anxious and so many things are going on. And then I'm like, okay, God, but your word says that my peace I've given you. So what does that even mean? What does it mean, my peace I've given you? Where is it? Where am I supposed to find it? Where do I go to get this peace? Where do I go to get this rest? Where do I go to get this joy, this unspeakable joy that just doesn't end, that is just oozing from the inside and out, and that is contagious? Where do I go for that? So I have really been going on a journey of where to kind of discover a bit more of what it means to yeah, just to have that peace. And as I've gone on that journey, I have really discovered what it means for me to maintain that peace, and how it's something that I cannot compromise on. It's something that is so powerful for me to carry on throughout the day, throughout the week. Yes, I may still have moments throughout that day. I even had one today, where I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, this thing has made me so sad. I don't know what to do. But even in that, I'm just like, you know what, Lord, just take control. I surrender it all onto you. But yeah, I have been just so sensitive to when my heart is not at peace, and then asking why, and then also kind of going back to, okay, how do I get back to where I was just a few moments ago, where I did have that peace and where I did have that joy. And I want to say that one thing that I have discovered, which is something that I spoke about very briefly just on my WhatsApp chat, was that Jesus set boundaries. You're probably thinking, what's the connection between my peace and Jesus's boundaries? But I'll explain it to you. You know, Jesus had a very busy life, a very, very busy life, going here, going there, talking to these people, and continuously pouring out. He was always in a position of where he had crowds around him. If it wasn't crowds, he was pouring out into his disciples. Fine, we can say that is what he came for, that's who he was, but at the same time, he also came in a human form, so which meant that physically, he still had to do what a normal human had to do. He had to eat, he had to rest, he had to just take some downtime. And I came across this blog today, and it said, it was about, Jesus set boundaries. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, that I need to read this. And it was really in line with everything that I had been thinking about. And it was talking about, how Jesus really set boundaries for himself. And one of the things that he did that I have had a revelation on, is that he set boundaries for himself. When the crowds were there, busy, everybody's like, Jesus, Jesus, oh my gosh, you need to heal me. I've got this issue, I've got that. Oh my gosh, I want to talk to you about this. Maybe not like that, but he withdrew himself. He withdrew himself to a quiet place. Not all the time, but he did it often enough. He would withdraw himself and go and pray. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful. I mean, I've read these passages before, but now it's taking a different meaning for me, because I am experiencing the same thing. Not that I have crowds, no. Not that everybody's like, Alex, I need to talk to you. No, far from it. But where life has brought some emotional, mental, and physical demands, that sometimes it does feel a little bit too much, and I'm learning to just stay in my space of peace and joy. I'm still learning, it's still a growing thing for me. But I thought this is really, really interesting, of how Jesus would withdraw himself when there are needs there. It's not that he can't see them, it's not that he doesn't want to help them, and it's not that he doesn't think it's important, but he felt it was important enough that in that moment he had to withdraw himself. He withdrew himself and took himself to a quiet place. And what did he do when he went to that quiet place? Sometimes he took his disciples with him, but often he would withdraw himself and just go to this quiet place, and he would spend time with his Abba Father. He would spend time with his father. It reminds me of when my son was a baby. He would be running around doing all sorts of things, but there's this needed time when he just needs some milk from his mama, some downtime and some replenishing and some renewing, some restoration that's going to only take place from that. And that's exactly what Jesus was doing. Spending time with his Abba Father was his space of where he had renewal time, where he had restoration time of his energy, where he had just a replenishing from within, where it kept him in the space where he needed to be. Without that, he was not going to be able to even hear what else was going on, and he would have physically burnt out. He would have literally physically burnt out. I just want to read from Luke chapter 5, verse 16. Actually, I'm going to start from verse 15. It says, "Yet even more so his fame went everywhere, and great crowds came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities." So these were people that really had like a lot going on, But he withdrew to the wilderness and prayed. My gosh. In the midst of all that, where there's needs, there's so many things happening, he withdrew himself and prayed. And in this blog that I was reading, it was explaining about how Jesus spending time with his Abba Father was just his time being full in God. And being full in God allows us to be full of grace, to be full of love, to be full of just his presence, and that is what allows us to be in that space of peace. That is definitely what allows me to be in my space of peace and maintain my joy regardless of what is happening around him, because Jesus had more than enough reasons to be even stressed out by what was happening. There was way too many people like with all these issues people like me basically and but yet in that moment, like he saw it important enough to just say, "Nah, bruv, I'm just gonna go and spend time with my dad for a bit. You just stay there. I'm gonna go and spend time with my dad." And I think that's something that all of us, children, all of us, everybody needs to take time and just spend time with the Lord. Everybody needs to just replenish. Everybody needs to go back to that place of where they can be restored, their energy can be restored. And for me, that is definitely spending time, just like what Jesus did, spending time in prayer with my Abba Father, and spending time in the presence of the Lord, and just being there. I do that in various ways. Sometimes I listen to music, to worship music, and because the word also says that he inhabits the praises of his people. So I create, we have a responsibility of creating an atmosphere where God can be there, right? So that's what I do. I listen to worship, and I go for walks. I go for long walks. Sometimes if I'm still feeling a little bit unsettled, I won't come back until it's gone. So if it takes 2-3 hours, that's what I'll do. And I think it's just so powerful. I'm just going to find the other scripture for you guys. Mark chapter 3 verse 9. He said, he told the disciples to have a small boat ready for him because of the crowd, lest they should crush him. For he had healed many, so that all who had diseases pressed on him to touch him. when unclean spirits saw him, they would fall down before him, crying out, "You are the Son of God." But he sternly ordered them not to make him known. I just want to kind of pause for a minute for where he had told his disciples to go and get a small boat for him. You know, when the part of the boundaries is also seeing danger, because he saw that there's a lot of people here, they might crush him. And sometimes the people that we come across, we can see it from afar that they're there, and they might crush us. You know, they're there, they might take our joy away. They're there and they might just ruin our day. And we need to take that responsibility of setting that boundary and of just withdrawing or just distancing ourselves. It's not wrong to do that, because you need to just be in the space of where you are able to go back to the Father and be replenished, be restored, and be full up and be full in Him. Because if you can't do that, if you're going to allow yourself to just be in a position of where these people can just come and ambush you, ambush your heart, ambush your thoughts, ambush your emotions, everything is all over the place. It's gonna take some work. It takes work in it, but it's gonna really take a lot of just, I don't know, just so much more, and for you to be in that space of where you're peaceful and you're joyful, you know. So have boundaries, just have boundaries, and the main boundary is withdraw yourself, you know. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, you're because right now, you know, we're still social distancing. It doesn't even have to be kind of like that you're withdrawing from people. Sometimes you need to withdraw from work, right? Like, just take 10 minutes out and say, hey, I'm just, you know, obviously if you can, but I'm just going to spend time with my father, especially now that we're working from home. I am going to spend time with my father. You know, I love to do this in the morning. I find that it's so beautiful because it sets the pace of my day, and when I don't have that, like, I just, you know, it's a little bit all over the place. But yeah, I just want to encourage you to set boundaries. Jesus set many boundaries, and what I have even discussed here is on the minimum, especially for you people that are in pastoral positions where you are speaking to a lot of people, where you're pouring out to a lot of people. You know, I'd really encourage you to take time out and make your time with the presence of the Lord a priority. And as a matter of fact, that should be for everybody. You know, make your time with the in the presence of the Lord a priority. For the sake of that, when you're full in Him, you're full in love, you're full in grace, you're full in so many things, and it will make your relationships by far much more healthier, and it will give you a discerning. You'll give you a discerning spirit. You'll be able to see from afar that Alice, I don't see her well. I don't see her well at all. I really don't. There's just something, you know. She's coming. If she comes a bit closer, she may just crush my heart. So what do you need to do? Tell your home girls to bring that boat and distance yourself. It's totally okay. This is a slightly different message to what I give, but I felt it was so important because maintaining your peace and joy is the most important thing, and the way we do that is by remaining in our Abba Father's love, remaining in our Abba Father's arms, remaining in our Abba Father's presence continuously on a daily basis. You know, fine, you have moments when a day or two goes and you'll feel it. You'll feel it when a day or two goes by and you haven't spent time with God. You will feel there's something that's just not quite right. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there today. And don't be burnt out. You know, Jesus doesn't want you to be burnt out at all. He does. Yes, He wants you to pour out to other people, but what He really wants you to do is spend time with Him. That's what He wants you to do. He wants you to just take some time out to withdraw every day, even if it's from work, family. Yep, you need to do that for yourself, for your growth, and for the growth of your relationships around you. Okay, it's Alice. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.